Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you're new to the channel, my name's Tim. This is Vehicle Evolution, and today we are going to go over why I chose a 2.0T. And this isn't going to be a which is better, 2.0T versus 3.8, although I am going to throw out a lot of numbers and kind of facts out there on the two cars, but it's basically going to be, why did I go with this one? You know, yeah. So we're going to jump in the car. We're not just going to sit in front of the camera here. We're going to go for a little drive. I'm going to put on that kind of stupid POV hat and give you guys a little bit of a look on what it's like to drive this thing on the back roads, and you get to hear its sounds and the exhaust and all that cool stuff. Hopefully it comes through on audio, but you know, sometimes that isn't quite the case. So before we get started on this video, drop a comment down below. If you own a Genesis Coupe, why did you go with the 2.0T or the 3.8? You know, whichever one you have. I'd really like to know, because, yeah. But, let's go for a drive. Alright, so we're all ready with this silly looking thing, but it's going to look good for you guys. So that's why I do this, and with that said, let's switch views. If you guys heard that blow-off valve sound, that is reason number one. Definitely reason number one. Okay, so let's talk about the kind of differences between the 2.0T versus the 3.8. And it's not just the difference between this 2.0T and a 3.8 of the same model year. There were changes made between the 2009 to 2012 model years and the 2013 through the 2016 model years. Now the turbo was discontinued at 2014. This is the last model year. Mine's a 2014, so this is the last model year that the turbo was made. And like everything in the KDM world, every time they made a little change, like adding leather seats or a sunroof or a spoiler, they changed the trim level of the car. So you have the base model, you have the R-spec, you have the Ultimate, you have the track version, you have the Grand Touring, you know, and all of those were made in 3.8s and 2.0Ts, and it's just a laundry list of different trims. So it gets really kind of confusing. The end result is that all of these cars, if you have a 2013 and up, which this is again 2014, your car looks the same. It may have different wheels, it may have different brakes, it may have a spoiler, it may not have had the spoiler, but the end result is the actual body of the car is the same. And the same happened prior to 2013 with the BK1 versions. The car itself looked the same. So you couldn't really go with one over the other from a 2.0T or a 3.8 standpoint just because you like the looks of the 3.8 better, because there wasn't a difference. You know, anything that there was a difference to, it was pretty inexpensive to actually make those modifications to get it to look that way. Like a spoiler on this car is 150 bucks, 200 bucks or so, depending on the type you're going for. It could be more expensive, but the point is that it doesn't take much to get your car to look like some of the different trim levels. So it really comes down to the engine and what you're looking for in power. So let's talk actual engine specs. So for the 2009 to 2012 model years, the 2.0T had 210 horsepower and roughly 256 pound-feet of torque. The 3.8 version had 306 horsepower and roughly 266 pound-feet of torque. So not a big difference in torque, but definitely a big difference in horsepower. Fast forward to 2013 when the BK2 came around and the 2.0T engine got a massive overhaul, and you're looking at 274 horsepower and 276 pound-feet of torque. The 3.8 of the same years comes in at 348 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. So again, the 3.8 versus the 2.0T from a torque standpoint is not that big of a difference, but definitely a horsepower change. Now, when I bought this car, and I bought this brand new, I'm the first owner, the only owner, honestly, I didn't know that much about the Genesis, and I didn't know about all the different trim levels. And you know, I knew there was a V6 version, and I knew that there was this, and I test drove this car because they had this one and they had a 2.0T r-spec on the lot. And like I've said in previous videos, the only reason I didn't get the r-spec was because it was red and I didn't want a red car. But that being said, when I drove this car, I immediately fell in love with the turbo. And if you haven't driven a turbo car and you're just looking at straight horsepower, there's something fun about when that turbo kicks in and it just kind of puts you in your seat a bit. Now, fast forward a little bit further than that, and when you get a turbo car tuned, now this car, with the tune that's on it, it's an SFR stage 1.5 tune, added roughly 50 wheel horsepower. So you figure you've got a 20% loss in power when you go from the crank to the wheels. That's kind of looking at roughly a 60 crank horsepower increase. So this car went from 274 horsepower with 276 pound-feet of torque to 334 horsepower with roughly 360-ish pound-feet of torque with a $300 tune from SFR. You know, so pretty inexpensive modification to be able to get some serious power gains. Like I said on my video with the SFR tune, the car is totally different after that tune. It was crazy what the power difference was and how noticeable you feel it. And that's not taking into account any of the bolt-ons that were on this car at the time or have been put on there since then. You know, you're going to get some power and gains just by some little things like a better exhaust, more open exhaust, downpipe, even a ram air intake to some extent is going to give you a little bit extra power. So you've got those little things that are going to factor in too. But the general point was that for a minimal amount of money, I could get this car's performance on par with what a 3.8 would give me just stock off the lot. Now, that's not to say that you can't modify a 3.8 and that you couldn't turbocharge it and get some serious power gains. I mean, you can take a 3.8 car, and if you've got the money and the time and want to invest it in it, you can easily get a 400 to 500 wheel horsepower car out of it, which is phenomenal, but it's going to cost you a ton of money. And that's not something that really I was willing to put into the car, and then I'm not going to put that kind of money into a car that, in the area that I'm at, I can't take advantage of that kind of power. And I'm not looking to just street race, and I'm not looking to go onto a drag strip. These cars are not meant for a drag strip. That's not their purpose. If anything, they're designed as more of a track car. So making any kind of performance modifications as far as your suspensions and tires and things like that, as far as handling, to be able to go onto an actual track and perform better and drift and things like that, is really where the game is at, I think, on the Genesis. 0 to 60 in a straight line is all well and good, but if you can't corner worth a damn, what's the point? So the power was certainly one of the main things that I was looking at, and fuel efficiency, because this is a daily driver. The 2.0T is a little bit more fuel efficient than the 3.8. Even after the tune actually helped out my fuel efficiency a bit. I'm getting roughly 24 miles to the gallon now on 93 octane gas, because that's what I'm tuned for. And when you think about it too, there are people out there that are all about power, and that's what they look for in a car, and they're all about modifying the car to get that power. Really, when it comes down to it, from what I've seen in the Genesis community, we're all about looks. I mean, we want the power too, but we're really all about the looks, and we do things to our cars to make them stand out from other Genesis. We add different wheels, suspension, body kits, spoilers, stuff like that. So there's a lot of different things that we do from a cosmetic standpoint to just bumpy back here. There's a lot of things that we do from a cosmetic standpoint to enhance our cars and make them more our own. Not so much from a performance standpoint, except for an exhaust, maybe a tune, and a air intake. You know, there's not a whole lot of else that most people end up doing with their engines. So when it comes down to it, why waste the money on something that, yes, is faster stock, but is considerably more expensive stock, and I can make my car that fast with minimal modifications? So it just made more sense to go with the 2.0. Now, if we're looking at the 2009 to 2012 model year with the BK1, I could honestly say that if I was buying a Genesis at that point, then I probably would have gone with the 3.8, because it is a significant amount of power, and even with a tune, you're not going to get yourself really that close to that kind of power. And this is Maryland roads. I mean, it sucks. I mean, it really puts this reaction suspension to the test. And I've said it in previous videos, the reaction coilovers are fantastic. So yeah, those are the major differences between those two engines, and I can't say that one engine is more reliable. I mean, I can tell you that the automatic transmission is more reliable than the manual transmission. You know, that's just kind of, you read any of the forums, and that's just how it is. Whether you like manual versus auto, that's a whole different video that I did, but you know, there's that factor in there as well, because this is an automatic, and I really like it because I've got the paddle shifters and I can have a lot of fun with it. But you know, my choice in buying a 2.0T really came down to, one, it was on the lot, it was the color I wanted, it drove like a dream. I actually loved how it drove, and I really didn't have a reason to look at anything more. Now, maybe if there was a 3.8 on the lot at the same time, maybe I would have gone that way. But knowing me, I really think that just having the turbo sound and the spool up and the extra quick power gain from the turbo just made it feel more sporty and more of an aggressive car. That's just what that's just how I feel about it. You may disagree, and that's perfectly fine. But yeah, so I mean, my main reason for it, and price on the 2.0T is certainly less expensive than a 3.8, and for minimal cost, relatively speaking, I can put together a car and build a car that would rival a 3.8 pretty easily with the modifications that are available for it. So I mean, those are the main reasons why going with the 2.0T over the 3.8. This car. So that's pretty much why I went with the 2.0T over the 3.8. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. That's all for me for now, guys. Till next time, take it easy.